Welcome, everyone, to today's episode. If you've ever found yourself plagued by self-doubt, second-guessing your abilities, or feeling paralyzed by the fear of not being good enough, you're not alone. There's a voice inside all of us, sometimes a whisper, sometimes a shout, that questions, criticizes, and undermines our confidence. Psychologists call it the inner critic. Today, we're going to learn not just how to quiet that voice, but how to transform it into a source of wisdom and self-compassion. So, grab a notebook, get comfortable, and let's take this journey together. Let's start by understanding what the inner critic actually is. Imagine you're about to give a presentation. Suddenly, thoughts pop up, you're going to mess this up. Everyone will see you fail. You're not qualified. That's your inner critic at work. But where does this voice come from? The inner critic is a collection of beliefs, fears, and negative self-talk that we've absorbed over the years. It might echo the voices of parents, teachers, or peers who are critical or demanding. Sometimes, it's a misguided attempt to protect us from embarrassment or failure. It's as if your mind is saying, if I criticize you first, maybe you'll be prepared for what others might say. But here's the thing, while the inner critic may have served a protective function at some point, it often becomes a barrier to growth, happiness, and authentic self-expression. It can sap your motivation, fuel anxiety, and keep you stuck in your comfort zone. Take a moment to reflect. When does your inner critic show up the most? Is it when you're trying something new? When you're under pressure? Or maybe when you're comparing yourself to others? Identifying these triggers is the first step in reclaiming your inner narrative. The next step is to recognize when your inner critic is speaking. This may sound simple, but the inner critic can be sneaky. Sometimes it disguises itself as realism or tough love. You might hear thoughts like, I'm just being honest with myself. If I don't push myself, I'll never improve. Other people are just better than me. But honesty and self-improvement don't require cruelty. There's a difference between constructive feedback and destructive criticism. The inner critic's voice is usually harsh, absolute, and unforgiving. It uses words like always, never, and should. Try this exercise. For one day, write down every negative thought you have about yourself. Don't judge or censor, just observe. At the end of the day, review your list. You'll probably be surprised at how often your inner critic pipes up, and how repetitive its messages are. Now that you can spot your inner critic, let's learn how to challenge it. Imagine your inner critic as a radio station that's always broadcasting negativity. You can't turn off the station completely, but you can change the channel. Ask yourself, is this thought really true? What evidence do I have for and against this belief? Would I say this to a friend in the same situation? Often, you'll find that your inner critic's claims are exaggerated or unfounded. Reframe the message. Instead of I always mess up, try sometimes I make mistakes, but I also learn and improve. Instead of I'm not good enough, try I'm a work in progress, and that's okay. Name your inner critic. Some people find it helpful to give their inner critic a name or persona. Maybe it's nagging Nancy or doubtful Dave. When you catch the voice, you can say, thanks for your input, Nancy, but I've got this. This playful approach can help create distance between you and your negative thoughts. Silencing your inner critic isn't just about fighting negativity, it's about cultivating self-compassion. Dr. Kristen Neff, a pioneer in self-compassion research, describes it as treating yourself with the same kindness, care, and understanding you'd offer a close friend. Try this, the self-compassion break. When you notice your inner critic, pause and say to yourself, this is a moment of suffering. Suffering is a part of life. May I be kind to myself in this moment? This simple practice can help you respond to self-criticism with warmth instead of hostility. Affirmations and positive self-talk. Affirmations aren't about pretending everything is perfect. They're about reminding yourself of your strengths and potential. Try repeating phrases like, I am enough. I am learning and growing every day. I deserve kindness, especially from myself. The more you practice challenging your inner critic and nurturing self-compassion, the more resilient you become. Resilience is the ability to bounce back from setbacks, to keep moving forward even when things get tough. Set realistic goals. Perfectionism is the inner critic's best friend. Instead of aiming for perfection, set realistic, achievable goals. Celebrate progress, not just results. Surround yourself with support. Seek out people who uplift and encourage you. Share your struggles with trusted friends or mentors. Sometimes, an outside perspective can help you see your strengths more clearly. Practice mindfulness. Mindfulness is the practice of observing your thoughts and feelings without judgment. When you notice your inner critic, acknowledge it, but don't let it dictate your actions. Meditation apps, breathing exercises, or even a few minutes of quiet reflection can make a big difference. There will be times when your inner critic is especially loud, maybe after a failure, during a big transition, or when you're feeling vulnerable. In these moments, it's important to have tools ready. Write a letter to yourself. Imagine you're writing to a dear friend who's struggling. What would you say to comfort and encourage them? Now, write those words to yourself. Create a wins journal. Keep a notebook where you record your achievements, big and small. When your inner critic tries to convince you that you're not good enough, revisit your journal as evidence of your growth. Seek professional help if needed. If your inner critic is causing significant distress or interfering with your daily life, consider talking to a therapist or counselor. There's no shame in seeking support. Here's a powerful idea: what if you could turn your inner critic into an ally? Instead of seeing it as an enemy, try to understand what it's trying to protect you from. Often, the inner critic is rooted in fear of failure, rejection, or disappointment. Ask, what is the inner critic trying to tell me? Sometimes, beneath the harsh words, there's a genuine desire to keep you safe. Acknowledge the intention, but choose a kinder, more effective way to support yourself. Transform criticism into constructive feedback. Instead of "you're terrible at this," try "what can I learn from this experience?" Instead of "don't even try," ask "what's the smallest step I can take right now?" Let's wrap up with some daily practices you can use to keep your inner critic in check. Morning check-in. Start your day with a positive intention. Ask yourself, how can I be kind to myself today? Mindful breathing. Whenever you notice negative self-talk, pause and take 3 deep breaths. This simple act can interrupt the cycle of criticism. Gratitude practice. Each evening, write down 3 things you appreciate about yourself or your day. Visualization. Imagine your inner critic as a character. Visualize gently turning down its volume or sending it on vacation. Acts of self-care. Treat yourself with the same care you'd show a loved one, whether it's a walk in nature, a favorite hobby, or simply resting when you need to. Remember, silencing your inner critic isn't about never having negative thoughts. It's about changing your relationship with those thoughts. You have the power to choose which voices you listen to and which you let fade into the background. Every time you challenge your inner critic, practice self-compassion, and celebrate your progress, you're rewiring your brain for resilience and self-acceptance. You're not erasing your flaws, you're learning to embrace them as part of your unique, beautiful journey. So, the next time your inner critic pipes up, greet it with curiosity, not fear. Thank it for its concern, then gently remind yourself, I am enough. I am worthy. I am a work in progress, and that's more than okay. Thank you for joining me today. If this episode resonated with you, share it with a friend who might need a little encouragement. Remember, you are not alone on this path. Keep moving forward, keep being kind to yourself, and watch how your world transforms. Until next time, take care, and silence that inner critic with compassion and courage.